Hi everyone, this is Jarle from Handmade Card Happy Heart. Thank you for joining me today. Today I will be making a card with the Spring Robin stamp set from Pretty Pink Posh, the Stitched Diamonds dies, and the Spring Flowers stencils. I started my card by die cutting a panel from Nina Classic Rest Solar White cardstock, and then I stamped my images using Copic friendly black ink. Like always, I use my Misty to get the best stamping impression. So here I wanted to film my coloring process, but since this was actually the first time I filmed my card making process, I didn't realize I had to zoom in at this point. So that's why I will skip the coloring in just a bit, because there's not really something interesting you can see there. I will make sure though to list all my Copic colors, my combos, in the description box below. So I colored all my images, and then of course I also die cut them with my matching coordinating dies, because I absolutely hate fussy cutting and I'm also absolutely terrible at it. So here I took a card panel and laid my first stencil on top. So this one has the petals or the actual flowers on them. I used two different kinds of colors for these flowers. For the first flower, I wanted to go with a kind of purple shade. So I started with wilted violet for the darker color and then blended it out with my shaded lilac for my lighter color. Then after that, for the tulips, I wanted a little bit of a pinky red shade, so I think I started here with my worn lipstick as a darker shade and then went in with my lighter spun sugar. I actually use a very cheap makeup brush from a store here in Belgium. Then I layered down the stencil with all the stems. And for this greenery, I used Lucky Clover as a darker shade and Correct Pistachio for my lighter shade. I absolutely love stenciling like this. I find this really, really therapeutic to do. So I am lifting my stencil so you can see the actual card panel here. So I wanted a diamond shape in the middle of my card, but since I also suck at eyeballing stuff, I always measure it out to make sure I know where the actual middle of my card panel is. So I tried to position it just right, just in the middle of my card, and temporarily adhered it with some purple tape and then die cut it with my Gemini Junior. So first I had to erase my pencil lines, of course, and then the struggle with where to place my images could begin. At this point here I decided I wanted a colored card base. So it's kind of a pinky red card base, so it matches my tulips. I scored it with my scoring board and I folded it so it was an actual card base. Then I wanted some dimension on my card panel, so I adhered lots of foam tape on it. I really like this part too, adhering the foam tape. And then of course I had to adhere all my images well, all my images. There were actually only 3 necessary. So I used, I think I used a combination of my liquid adhesive and some foam squares. So the images were nicely adhered onto my card base and my cards panel. I'm so sorry that my head gets in the way all the time. I still need to learn that there's a camera above my head. It's definitely a learning curve here. Okay, so now I had to decide which sentiment to use. So I used the Simple Sentiment set from Pretty Pink Posh, and I went for the Good Luck because I wanted to make a card for my aunt because she's starting a new job, and I wanted to wish her good luck by sending her a card. I always have a bag with lots of scrap pieces of sentiment strips in different colors, so I can make sure, or I can try which color I use for my sentiment strip, which color that goes best with my card panel. But as always, I went for my black strip because you can never go wrong with a black sentiment strip. So after I white heat embossed my sentiment, I cut it down to the right size and then also adhered it with some foam tape. It's actually a Derice foam strip. These are very tiny strips, excellent for adhering down sentiments. Is it on straight? Yes, it is. Okay, so now to the final part of making this card. I attached some Pretty Pink Posh Friends confetti sequins. Before off camera, I already decided on where to place my sequins, so now I am just adhering them with some liquid glue and my quick stick pen. This card really needed some sequins. It was a little bit dull, so I tried to add some interest by adding some sequins. And then, of course, this card needs shimmer, lots of shimmer. So what I did, I just used my Wink of Stella pen, my shimmer pen, and went over the little birds. This gives a little subtle glitter to the images. Very sheer shimmer. And I really like how it eventually turned out. So, thank you for joining me. Have a happy day. Bye.